Alright guys, how's it going? And like right when I hit the record button, like 2 seconds before that, I realized how this looks. Like I needed somewhere to put my coffee and this whole room is wood. So like I'm not putting my coffee mug on wood. So my dad, when he built this log home like 20 years ago, like people used to like, some like friends of his like would give him random like decorations and stuff, and this was one of them. And it was just right outside the room. So I just dragged in here and said, all right, cool, I can have him hold my coffee. But trust me, we love him just like family. Treat him just as well. He's just not as important as the rest of us. But yeah, he's Joe. He's Joe the coffee holder for today. 2003's Freddy versus Jason. I skipped over Jason X just because chronologically this one comes next. Otherwise it makes no fucking sense, like at all. So we're gonna go with Freddy versus Jason first. Directed by Ronnie Yu. And just how long this movie took to be made. Like I said in my video for 7, like this is supposed to be back then. Like the pitch for Friday the 13th Part 7 was Freddy versus Jason. Didn't happen then, so they threw Carrie in there. And didn't happen for 8, and they took him to Manhattan. And then it didn't happen to 9, they took him to hell. And it didn't happen after that, and they said, fuck it, let's take him to space. And then finally, they were able to make it happen, New Line, after they acquired Friday the 13th and everything. So they were able to finally make this happen. And with Ronnie Yu directing, first thing I want to say is thank you, Ronnie Yu, for Bride of Chucky, since Child's Play, like I said on here, I covered the whole series, one of my favorite franchises in horror, and I love Bride of Chucky, so thank you, Ronnie Yu. Second point, fuck you, Ronnie Yu. Like really, like the fact that he didn't cast Kane Hodder as Jason in this is a fucking travesty. Like straight up. Like the fact that Kane was at that point the only, and still, but at that point, like the most famous Jason, the only one to play Jason in multiple films, 4 at that point, waiting to do this. Like I said, it was supposed to be Part 7. That's the one he started in. So he's been waiting for each installment, basically, to be able to go up against Freddy on screen. And then Ronnie Yu casts some other fucking guy as Jason? That's so fucked up. Like, I will never forget you for doing that. Like, ever. Even with Bride of Chucky. That's why I got the thank you out of the way before the fuck you. Because the fuck you will resonate a lot longer and deeper than Bride of Chucky. But, like, seriously, like, I mean, Ken Kurtzinger, he's fine in this. Like, he's fine as Jason. Jason, his look is alright. Like, I don't really love it or anything like that. This is an interesting rewatch, actually, because I remember this being a lot better. A lot better. And I haven't seen this movie in forever. So, like, maybe, like, almost 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. Like, it's been a long while since I watched Freddy vs. Jason. And I remember it being a lot better than this. Like, this is a movie that I can pick and choose things that I like out of it. And so like, all right, I'll take this, I'll take this, I'll take that, that's cool. You can keep the rest of it. I don't know, that's just how it is for me. Like, I feel like they could have done so much better with a Freddy vs. Jason movie. But let's dive into it. So we find out that Freddy kept a scrapbook of all his little victims and that he smoked cigarettes. I don't think we ever saw that. I have to go through the whole Nightmare series when I eventually do that, but he was a smoker, so maybe that's how he got killed. Maybe that's how he burned. Maybe that whole thing with the parents is a lie to cover up the real story. Maybe he was like too fucking tired. He had a hard day at work at the playground trying to lure these kids over to be killed. And then he just got home, he started scrapbooking, he was smoking a nice cigarette. And he was fucking tired. He passed out, cigarette fell, and fucking lit his ass on fire and sent him to hell in a fucking handbasket real quick. I think that's what happened to Freddy. That's the real story that nobody wants you to know. And 1 second, I'm gonna, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And I think that's what happened to Freddy. Cigarettes are the real killer here in the Friday Nightmare universe. And the whole premise, though, I will give it this. The whole premise of Freddy not being that powerful because he was forgotten and there's no fear left for him, and he's too weak to do the killing that he needs to do, that he loves doing so much. So he resurrects Jason to instill that fear back into Springwood, to get his power back and everything. Cool concept. Like, it was a nice premise for this whole movie. Like, a nice way to bring Jason and Freddy together. I'll give it that. Like, it's a unique idea. But where it goes with it is just, I don't know, man. It doesn't do it for me, like, anymore. Like, I used to love this movie when it first came out. Not like love it, but like, I thought it was good. They did a good job with it. Now I'm just like, on this movie. Like, I don't know. And then we see the whole little clips from all the Nightmare movies and him talking about his power and everything, and that he needs it back, and that he used to be number one and scared the shit out of everybody. And like, some of Englund's dialogue in this strikes me as strange too. Like, he's overacting almost a little bit with some of the delivery of his lines. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, like, certain things he says in this just makes me think, like, yeah, that doesn't sound like something Freddy would say. Or like the way he says it. It's like, Freddy wouldn't say it like that. Like, I don't know. It's very few and far between though. So, I mean, Englund gives an excellent performance as always as Freddy, but something with like every now and then with just like a small handful of little lines just make me like, that sounds a little weird, like, coming from Freddy. Then he pretends to be Betsy Palmer. Oh wait, that's not Betsy Palmer, it's some other woman, as Jason's mother, and resurrects him, telling him to go and do what he does best, and fucking just kill, in order for Freddy to get enough power to come back. And then we have Catherine Isabel as one of Laurie's friends in here, and God, I fucking love Catherine Isabel. That woman is a goddess. Like, growing up, like, when I first saw Ginger Snaps when it came out, ever since then, man, fucking one of my favorite actresses to see on screen just for, like, looks. Like, she's a great actress, don't get me wrong, but she is fucking gorgeous. And seeing her in this movie, that made me think of, I gotta rewatch and cover American Mary, like, soon, because I love me some Catherine Isabel. Actually interesting that Ginger Snaps was the first video I ever did for the channel. I just picked a movie at random on Amazon and it was Ginger Snaps. So we have Catherine Isabel again, making her return on this channel, and she is adorable. And then with Monica Keener plays Laurie, the main character, and she's fine. I mean, she was in what, Night of the Demons, the remake, right? Which I don't even remember that movie at all. I just remember that she was in it. And she's cute, she's adorable. All the women in this movie, like Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child, you could say her name again. She's just fucking gorgeous. Like, they're all the women, the three main girls in here are gorgeous. But the acting is just not that good in this movie. Like, from everyone, pretty much. Like, except for Englund. Jason has no fucking lines, so it doesn't matter for him. But like, most of the acting in this is just iffy to alright to just flat out bad at times. Like, that's one aspect that I didn't remember from like back in the day, like the last times seeing this. And maybe it's because I'm watching these now with a much more analytical eye and everything, and discussing them, you know, on YouTube and stuff. But like, the acting's just not that great in this movie. We have, who else? We have Jason Ritter, John Ritter's son in this, and he does again, like, all right, like, but it's just like, there's nothing stand out about anything in this movie, like with the acting at all. Which you can argue, of course, like, you know, it's a Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Like, when has there ever been like really great performances? There has been though. I mean, the fucking Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. It's a great performance. And I'm sure if I rack my brain, there's others. But like, I don't know, it just took it down for me. And this movie, like, it has the same type of feel as Bride of Chucky. Like, Ronnie Yu has a very distinct directing style. Like, I was looking at certain scenes and just the way they were like directed and shot, and just the overall just tone and feel of the movie. And it feels like Bride of Chucky. Like, he has such a Like I said, like distinct directing style, Ronnie Yu. And I don't know anything really else that he's done. Like, I don't know how much more he has done. Like, I've only seen of his Bride of Chucky and this. So, like, I'm interested to check out what else, if he's done anything else, like, recently that I can check out and see if it's the same type of directing style. Because if you, like, watch both these movies, like Bride of Chucky and this, like, back to back, that you could tell, like, just looking at them and watching them back to back, that it's the same director. Like, and not like in other ways that you can tell it's the same director, but it's like it's a different style he's going for or something. Like, same style, same type of directing, same look and feel. Like, it seems to be just like his style, like Ronnie's. But not that it's bad or anything. Like, I love Bride of Chucky. This is a very well-made film. Like, it's put together very well. It's edited well. It's shot well. Like, the sound design's great. The cinematography is good. Like, it's a very good-looking movie. Like, which I wouldn't expect less from him after Bride of Chucky. And we have the bed kill, which is by far my favorite kill in this movie. And it's a shame that it happens within the first, like, 15 minutes. So that, like, it can't be topped afterwards. But when Jason comes in after, I don't even remember Catherine Isabel's character's name. Gibb? Yeah, Gibb. When Gibb and her boyfriend, that dickhead, do I have to ask you twice? You know, I'm not going to say it again. Get up here. You abusive motherfucker. I can't stand in movies, and I say this a lot, when there's a gorgeous, smart fucking girl with just the most dickhead fucking guy. Like, and it's like, why are you with this person? Like, please explain to me, like, something. And she even addresses it in the movie, like Kelly Rowland's character. Like, I don't remember any of these people's names. So, like, they're not worth remembering, most of them, except for, like, Laurie, because she's the main one. And I just did Halloween, and Laurie isn't there, even though it's spelled different. It still has the same fucking sound when it comes out your mouth. So it's the only reason that I remember her name. But Kelly Rowland even says to Catherine Isabel, to Gibb, she's like, what do you see in him? She's like, I don't know, but he's got a cute ass. Apparently, a cute ass is enough to stick around in a borderline abusive relationship, I guess. But then again, cute ass for me, it might be worth sticking around in abusive relationship. I don't know, but there's a reason that she's with him. Who the fuck knows? She's a goddess. She could be with anybody. And then just the way that Jason comes in when she's in the shower and comes in and just starts stabbing multiple times through the bed, and then just takes the bed and collapses it and breaks his back backwards. Fucking awesome. Like, that is such a great kill, man. Like, so good to see after, like, doing all the Friday films and going through 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, not so much since it has really good effects in it, but like in 6 through 8 with just the watered down and MPAA complete fuckery with the gore scenes and everything and the kills, to see like a really cool looking kill like in a Friday movie. So really awesome kill, favorite in the movie by far. The CGI in this movie, it's not bad by any means. I mean, if you guys follow me, you know how I feel about CGI for the most part. I do not like CGI, like, in horror, like, and specifically in slasher movies. Like, I feel that if you're doing a slasher movie, or like a creature feature movie, like body horror, anything like in those subgenres, practical is the way to go. I said in my video for The Thing, like, it's my favorite horror movie, favorite movie of all time. The whole reason that I'm against CGI in those type of movies is because of The Thing. The greatest practical effects of all time. Like, state of the art. And because of seeing that movie so young, I guess it just instilled in me that just, like, that's the way to go, man, with those types of movies. But slashers especially, like, look at all, the 80s was the fucking time for slasher movies. And it was all practical. All of it. There was no CGI back then. So I feel like anyone making a slasher film in any period since CGI was invented and came into, you know, filmmaking, that they should at least go for practical as much as they can. Like, at least make it mostly practical. And if you need to touch it up with CGI, that's fine. or if there's like an impossible thing that you want to do, obviously, that you can't do a practical effect for and you need CGI, then of course, you know, go for it. You got to do what your vision is, what you want to do. And if you can't do a practical effect for it, you know, do what you got to do. But like when Laurie's having her first nightmare and stuff, and she's the girl, and the girl turns around with her eyes missing, and it's just it's like you couldn't make a practical effect for her eyes to be gouged out like that. Like it has to be CGI. Like that's when it gets me. When it's like, you know that they could have done a practical effect, but they didn't. They just chose to do CGI. And like, I couldn't tell. I wasn't paying much attention to look and see if there was a practical effect under there and it was touched up. It didn't look like it. It looked like it was just straight CGI. But I mean, they could have had something under there, like an effect to begin with, and then heavily touched it up. But like I said, it's not that it's bad CGI. It's not like, you know, like some full moon picture from like the early 90s or something, or like even like when Jason gets brought back to life a few times with the lightning and stuff in earlier entries, like the CGI like with the lightning and shit. Like it's not like bad like that. Like it's definitely watchable. It's not like something I'd be like, oh, this looks terrible. Like for the most part, like there might be one or two things in here that I like kind of cringed at, but for the most part it looks fine. It's just like my personal feelings on CGI and stuff, especially like I said, like with this subgenre of horror with slasher films. Like, but there are some cool practical stuff in here though. And then we get Blake's dream, which is cool, that his dad comes out and starts giving him shit, and I'd be the same fucking way. I'd be like, Dad, my best friend was just killed. Like, can you give me some fucking space? And like the dad still acts like a dick as he walks away. He's like, you better watch yourself, boy. It's like, dude, come on. This kid's best friend was just brutally murdered. Like, you can't give him space? Like, you can't understand that? Seriously? Like, he deserves his head chopped off just for that. Stop being a dick to your children. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the message of the video today. That's the lesson. Don't be a dick to your kids, because a fucking masked maniac that can't die will come and decapitate him while you're dreaming. And you'll never have a chance to rekindle that relationship. So don't be a dick to your kids, because Jason will kill you. And when he wakes up, I love when he wakes up out of the dream, and his dad's just sitting next to him, like still as can be, and he just like shakes him, like, Dad, and his head falls off into his lap, and the blood squirting from the neck. Like, that's practical right there. Like, good. Like, so they were able to set that up. I'm not going like huge into CGI again, because I don't have a lot of time to do this video anyway. I got my daughter just woke up a little bit ago, so I got, like I said in the last video or so, or whatever, as much as I love you guys, fucking, when it comes to my daughter that I'm up here every month for a week or so with, you guys can all go to hell like Jason. Like, this whole channel can really fuck right off. Like, and that's my world right there. And then kills Blake, and I like how he kills him. Like, Jason takes the machete and like he holds his dad's head up like a shield, kind of. And the machete goes right through the dad's head and slices him, and the blood sprays onto the wall, the window, whatever it is. That's really cool. And I like, speaking of the nightmares and stuff, I really like the seamless transitions into the dreams in this movie. Like, they've done it in the past nightmare movies, like most of them, but it's done very well here too. Like, I love just how, like, when Kelly Rowland's character is in the hospital when after Laurie passes out, and she's looking through the magazine and she's asking about a nose job, and the woman doesn't answer her, and then the pictures start changing and becoming like dead corpses and all that shit, and then Freddy comes out and rips her nose off, and like, see, like that, like, fucking, I'm not getting back into it, but the CGI with the nose, that looks cringeworthy. I can't stand that. That looks so bad. But besides that, and like one other thing, like, it's mostly fine. But this is what you get on this channel, man. Fucking. And a little side note, I want to give a shout out to the Real Fifth Beatle. If anyone hasn't checked out his channel, great guy. He's from Britain or somewhere over there. My apologies, man. I don't know. But honestly, you guys from the United Kingdom, so you all sound the same to me. So from somewhere over there. But if anyone hasn't checked out The Real Fifth Beatle, he does a lot of live streams with other YouTubers by himself. He's really, really great guy. He just went over 100 subs. He just won Horror YouTuber of the Month. And so congratulations, man, for getting that. That's awesome. And thank you for nominating me for the month of October for Horror YouTuber of the Month. I don't know why. Like all three of those other ones deserve it much more. But thank you, seriously, man, for that. But if anyone hasn't checked out his channel, The Real Fifth Beatle, I'll put a link in the description to his channel. He's absolutely awesome content and definitely worth checking out, for sure. So, where the hell was I? But yeah, the way the dreams just like seamlessly happen. And then because it makes you think for a second. It makes you think, okay, when exactly did they fall asleep? And then like just for a few seconds, like your brain goes back to what just happened. It's like, all right, well, she was sitting there in the chair and stuff. So, all right, so then she must have just fallen asleep like Gibbs did, like Isabel's character, like in the chair next to her. So she just fell asleep. Then she dreamt that she picked the magazine up and something like that. And I like that. Like, I really like how they play with the dreams and handle the nightmares and stuff happening. Then we have Will and Mark at, was it Winston Hills, the name of it? So that's what I mean. Like, a lot of the things in this movie are just not memorable to me. Like, I won't remember most of the characters' names, like, name of the hospital. I almost forgot the name of the town. Like, like a lot of that. It's just like not too memorable for me. But Will and Mark, I really like Mark's character. And it's a shame that he dies so quick too. Like, but them being at Winston Hills and then them bringing the Hypnosis into this, which is a nice little move, bringing that in from the older Nightmare movies. And that they're all on Hypnosis from like 4 years earlier. So they had to be young because they're 18 in this movie, right? Yeah, because they said that Laurie and Will were dating when they were 14, like 4 years previously. So they're 18 now. So they were 14 years old. So Freddy was going after them, Mark especially, and his older brother, like when Mark was 14 years old. And I like the whole little backstory on Mark's brother and stuff, and then how they covered it up as a suicide. And Mark knows that his brother would never have done that to him and everything, and that they were like tight as can be. Like, I really like the character of Mark, like in this movie, and I'm very disappointed he didn't get to have a much bigger role in this. Like, that would have elevated the film a little bit for me. Like, if he was through to like near the end of this movie. Like, you have Kelly Rowland, like, making it to the end here. You got that other dorky fucking kid, what's his name? Linderman. I don't know how I remembered that name, man. Out of all the people to remember this movie, I remember his name, fucking Linderman. Like, and he gets to go to the end? Like, come on, man. Like, have him die in Mark's place and then have Mark make it to the camp at the end. Much better, in my opinion. And that hospital has one door to get up to the outside and be free, apparently. Like, and he's acting like an ape, Mark, and what a dick that fucking guy is, the head psychiatric dude, whatever his name is, they never even mention it, but like the guard who gives the medications out and stuff like that. He wouldn't let Will watch the TV for 2 seconds when he saw it was Laurie's house and that there was a murder in there. This dickhead has to shut the TV off, and Will even says, like, I never asked for anything. Like, and he seems that way. His character comes off as like the type of person who would just do what he's told, you know, like a caring, kind person, and that he's not gonna cause any problems while he's there. He's not trying to be a dick. He's like nothing like that. He doesn't ask for anything, he says. And he couldn't leave the TV on just so he would know if anything happened to Laurie. Like, what a fucking asshole. But then when Mark starts acting like a monkey and like mooning him through the window of his office and and gets tranquilized and stuff just to grab the key card off of him, which, good friend, man, what a good friend. After being locked up for 4 years, being roommates and stuff, he's willing to put his ass on the line, escaping this place with you so you can check on your 4-year past ex-girlfriend that he still cares about. Like, good friendship. That's what I said with Will and Mark. Like, I just love their dynamic together. And I wish that was explored more throughout this movie. Like, I really, really do. But there was just that key card just opened one door. They just go bink, and then they're fucking outside. So, like, they need to up the security at Winston Hill's asylum, because it is way too easy for people to get out of that place. Like, absolutely. And then Mark did a hell of a job scaring Laurie to death in the school. Like, when they show up and she's talking about her dream, and like the whole school is in that hallway listening. Like, as soon as she starts like really getting into the dream, everybody just like shuts the fuck up and is turning around and listening. Like, you'd think this is a conversation you want to have in private somewhere, but nope, just like right in the middle of the school, and everyone is listening to Laurie talk. Like, her like fucking reputation there is just like over. Like, it's like crazy bitch from now on. Like, that's her nickname. Like, she should have had this pull Kelly Rowland's character aside and give and tell him there. But just to have Mark come out, that's the whole reason it was in the hallway. Just to have Mark come out and start singing 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you and stuff when she's singing it. And saying, you know why he sings that? Because that's when he's going to get you in your nightmares. Like, you better not fall asleep again. And even Will says, like, dude, stop, you're scaring her. Like, no, he's not just scaring, he's fucking terrifying this girl. Are you serious? Like, who does that? Like I say in so many movies, when people do stupid shit, like, who fucking acts like that? Like, there's a better way. Put it, listen, I have to talk to you. I'm with Will. Like, all right, listen, I know the dream you had. You know, I used to have the same dreams. Like, that's why me and Will have been locked away for the last 4 years. And we haven't had dreams there. They're giving us experimental drugs so we don't dream. And it's just, and explain the whole story and sit there calmly with her and stuff. Have her ask all the questions she needs and shit. But there you go. Much more effective way. Because he even says later, and actually I like how they kind of address all this. Like, even though, like, all the little things I've just been nitpicking apart, they do mention at some point, like with Will saying you're scaring her and stuff. And then later on, Mark and Will, when they're talking, and him saying you cause a lot of fear at the school. And him saying, oh shit, you're right. Like, what if I messed up the town's plan? So they do address it. And it's like it's kind of like that whole meta feel like Bride of Chucky had. And then maybe that's another reason why this film and Bride of Chucky feel so tone-wise similar. I don't even know what the fuck that was. It's early, man. They feel so similar tone-wise between those two. Maybe that's another reason, because a lot of the meta stuff in this movie. But, I mean, nowhere near Bride of Chucky with, like, the meta stuff. But there's some in here, for sure. But scared the shit out of her. And then Will and Mark, like, are literally saved by the bell, because the officers call their names, and then as soon as they're ready to fucking grab them, like, the bell goes off for classes. And I have never seen kids get out of a classroom that fast, like, after the bell rang. It's like, bell rings and they're already walking out the doors. Like, like, they must be so bored at their school. Must have the worst teachers, man, because they're just waiting at the door for the bell to ring. And they were literally saved by the bell. And then the whole thing with the town's plan and stuff against Freddy, like now everything I say regarding Nightmare on Elm Street might not be on point, because it's been a while since I've watched that whole series. So I'm probably forgetting shit. But their whole plan of, they basically quarantined everybody, like Mark says. They basically took all the Elm Street kids who were having nightmares of Freddy and just locked their asses up. Like, against their will, locked them up in this mental asylum and was pumping them full of Hypnosil so they wouldn't have dreams anymore. They wouldn't have any contact with the outside world. They weren't mailing letters. Will says he wrote letters to Laurie. She never got them. And now I even forget if the father was the one who was keeping the letters. Wasn't Laurie's father the one that wasn't letting her have I don't know, man. I woke up so early to watch this movie just to get this out of the way before my daughter woke up, and then I was kind of like still drifting in and out. So this isn't the best video on this on this movie, but no, like, there's not much to miss. But like, I forget whether it was him or the place, but like, they weren't letting them call their friends. They weren't, nothing like that. So it was just like he said, like a fucking quarantine. So they could get rid of the fear of Freddy, and they can get rid of anybody who is having nightmares of him that can tell the others and spread the fear of Freddy and give him more power and have the killings keep happening. So it's a decent plan at the at the cost of fucking the rest of these kids for the rest of their lives by putting them into a fucking mental asylum. Like, that's fucked up. Like, but I mean, I guess if you're trying to think like the greater evil here, like Freddy murdering kids is a little bit higher up than, you know, the few kids being thrown into a hospital, which who knows how long they'd be in there or anything like that. Like, I'm not sure on the rules and stuff, but so apparently they were taken there when they were like 14 years old, right? So they just are hitting 18 or are 18, so can they check themselves out like when they're an adult? Or they're locked up by the state or the county or something. Like, I don't know the rules on that. But the whole plan of quarantining the kids against Freddy like he's a disease, like Mark says, like an infection. I think it's really cool how they approached all that and put that whole little... This movie's very exposition heavy. That's another thing I'll say about it that I really don't care for. There is so much exposition in this movie. And just like lines that the characters will say, like, that we don't need them to say it. Like, we know, like, come on, like, we're not fucking stupid. Like, that's another thing with certain movies. Most movies, like nowadays, that just treat the audience like we're fucking stupid. Like we have no brain cells, that we have no attention span. And I get why. It's because most people today do not have an attention span and are stupid. And they need shit explained to them. So, like, I get it. But, like, for, like, most of us, like, out there, like, the hardcore horror fans and just regular horror fans or film fans and stuff, like, we have attention spans. We can pay attention. And it's like they'll say something about Freddy or about Jason, and then, like, we know already, like, what they mean. And then another character will say, well, that's because of this, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, we got it. It's like, so many instances of that happen in this movie. And I don't know, I just roll my eyes with it. The whole Cornfield Party scene, though, is awesome. That whole scene is great. With them having the whole party in the middle of these cornfields, which is a cool little location for a party. And Jason, Gibbs starts having her dream about her boyfriend who got smushed in the bed. What was his name, Trey? Or was that his friend? Who the fuck cares or knows? It's her abusive fucking boyfriend. And sees him, like, holding his head and, like, walks through the cornfield and repeats the line of, like, I'm not gonna tell you twice, okay, bitch, or whatever he says. And she follows him. Then I like how right before Freddy kills her, she gets killed by Jason. And he's, like, pissed, like, and she disappears from his nightmare. I really like that. That's funny. The fact that at that point that Jason just can't stop. Like, he never can. He's just cold-blooded fucking killing machine. And Freddy underestimates him. He totally underestimates what Jason is and what he's capable of. Like, he thought he was just going to bring him back, resurrect him, and get a few killings under his belt, and then be like, all right, Jason, you're good. You can rest now. Yeah, no, that's not how Jason works. Just the fact that Freddy underestimates him with that and uses him in his plan initially, and then it backfires. Awesome, like, really cool stuff. So like I said, there's some cool stuff in here. It's one of those type of movies, like I said, that's just like, I'll pick and choose, I'll take this, this, and this, and whatever cool things and clever things in here, and then you can keep the rest of the movie, because the rest just doesn't do it for me. But there is definitely some cool stuff. And the whole shots of Jason on fire, walking through the cornfield and setting the corn on fire as he's walking, looks great. Like, I really, really like those shots. Awesome stuff. Then throwing the burning machete at the fat guy after he said, "One, you find a pig to fuck." He should have just dropped his pants and turned around for Jason right then and there. And you would have found it real quick. And just him running from Jason, and then the machete comes bursting out his chest and stuff. Awesome. Like, then Jason just goes on a fucking hack and slash spree, man. He starts killing everybody. He's just fucking machete to this guy, machete to that guy, just left and right, fucking destroying everybody. Awesome, awesome scene. Then the whole Laurie's dad killing her mom thing that they bring into this is interesting. Like, just the fact of, at the beginning of this movie, when we first meet Will and Mark, Will says to Mark, when Mark starts talking about Freddy. He's like, oh, you're going on with that dream demon stuff again. So Mark seems like Will seems like he didn't have nightmares of Freddy before. Or if he did, like, very, very, like, few. Like, not enough to fuck him up at all, like it did for Mark. I mean, Mark's brother was killed by Freddy too, so of course it's going to fuck him up more. But I don't know, like, it sounds like Will doesn't fully believe Mark, which makes me think that he didn't have dreams of Freddy, and that the only reason he was locked up was because of Laurie's dad locked him up. Because of what he was saying that he saw Laurie's dad kill his mom. And then the whole way at the end that we find out that it was Freddy and that he saw. And I don't know how that works, because if Will was there watching and Freddy killed the mom, then like who was he putting on the whole father act for if no one was there? Like, if it was, he didn't know, did he know Will was watching? And that's why Freddy decided to turn into the father to kill Laurie's mother? Because if he didn't know Will was watching, then that's fucking stupid. Like, that makes no sense. Like, for Freddy just to become Laurie's father when it was just him and the mother there, for him to kill the mother, that makes no sense. So, like, he had to have known, I'm guessing, that Will was there watching. But how was Will seeing a nightmare? Like, if Will was there watching, and he was only able to kill in people's dreams, that's Freddy's whole thing. So, if he was killing the mother, that means the mother was dreaming. She was sleeping, which we see her sleeping. So, she was in a nightmare. Freddy went to kill her. But why does he look like the father? And why would Will be able to see that if it was really Freddy? Like, it's like in the first nightmare when we have, shit, it's been so long. I want to say Tina, but I might be wrong. When she's getting dragged on the ceiling and everything, like, her boyfriend in the room, like, he doesn't see anything. He just sees her body moving around. Like, you can't see Freddy if you're not in the dream. So that whole thing with the dad killing the mom, but Freddy as the dad and stuff like that, with Will seeing it, and all these years he's been trying to tell her that he saw her father kill her mother. Like, that whole thing just doesn't work for me on, like, many levels. It's interesting, but it just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, any way you try to think about it. Unless there's something I'm missing. So if there's something I'm missing, let me know. Put it in the comments. Fill me in. Because I have no idea. But Mark's whole dream sequence is awesome. And seeing his dead brother in the bathtub, so we're assuming that he was in the bathtub, made it look like he slit his wrists and stuff when Freddy killed him. And then him saying to spread the message that Freddy's back, and him saying he won't do it, and him saying he'll have to deliver the message himself, and then he sets him on fire. And these people do not try to help him at all. Like, not one bit. Like, and Will and Laurie are just staring at him before he even gets set on fire, through the window with bars on it. Like, they don't think immediately, like, to kick a door in, like, get down there, like, get in the house at least, like, nothing. Like, especially then they see he's on fire and shit, and he's coming up against the window, and, like, all they can do is, like, Mark, like, come on, man, like, really, like, there wasn't a door that you can kick in. Or, like, something, like, just get in the house at least. And even if you didn't make it to him in time, at least you tried something instead of screaming through a window with bars on it that's not helping Mark in the slightest. Like, I don't know. But then, like, the whole Freddy's, what does he even say? Like, Freddy's back or something like that, like, on it, burnt onto his back, looks really cool. Like, really cool effect there. And the Hypnosil, I mentioned already. And they didn't immediately, they go back to the hospital to get the Hypnosil. That's why I wrote it down here. They went to get the Hypnosil from the hospital. After having that whole scene of, and I can't take this cop seriously, the blonde cop, because he played, Ryan Phillippe's character from I'll know what you did. I know what you did last summer in Scary Movie. I'll always see this actor as the guy from Scary Movie. So anything he's in serious, I just can't I can't take him seriously. And this guy comes and he's an expert on Jason for some reason, and he starts talking and filling them in, and then Linderman, the dorky kid, apparently knows about Jason too, because he says that's the real Jason, it's not a copycat, like I saw what he can do. And then that's what I'm saying, like with like the heavy exposition in this, like when they start, like, and the way that the characters perfectly deduce everything that's going on, like with no knowledge of any of this before like their friend was killed in the bed. None of them have ever heard of Freddy because the town has been suppressing it and everything, and the parents don't talk about it. No one's heard of Jason except for Linderman, apparently, and the cop, because he's not from the town. They said, the sheriff said to him, like, you're not from around here. So we can only like guess or assume that he's from maybe around Camp Crystal Lake or in the area surrounding that knows about the legend of Jason. But they just come up like with the whole plan perfectly. Like the way they just come out and say like, well, maybe that Freddy didn't have the power. Maybe he was too weak and he needed Jason to bring the fear back. And so like every guess they make is spot on. Like that's exactly what's happening. Like these people aren't wrong ever. Like they get everything 100% correct. And it just feels like really manufactured to me. Like it just doesn't feel organic the way that the plot unfolds as the movie goes on. And then I do like though when like Laurie fell asleep during all that, which I don't blame her, man. I almost fell asleep with all that exposition. And she ends up falling asleep, and then they're like talking about like, yeah, like a sacrifice and like a virgin, and like Kelly Rowland's character is like, oh, we know who the virgin is here, and they all look at Laurie, and then Will's line of just like, well, let's tie the bitch up. That's a great line. And they start fucking tying her up, and then she wakes up and she pulls Freddy's ear out of the dream and realizes that she can take part of him or take him out, and that's how they think of their whole little plan for the ending. I like that little dream sequence too. Like I said, they did a great job with the dreams. Then that hospital didn't immediately deactivate that key card that Mark stole from the guy. Like immediately. It still works. Like this is like what, a day or two later, they're out looking for Mark and Will. They know right after they got out, you know, that they escaped. The first thing they do isn't deactivate that key card. I don't know, just, you know what I do. That's just a thing I noticed and had to bring up. There's no way that a fucking mental hospital has just the one door to leave, like I said earlier, but like, let alone that. But two patients escape and you don't change all the fucking electronic key cards and stuff like that so that old ones can't be used, especially that they know that Mark stole the guy's key card and that's how they got out. Just a small little thing for you guys. If you wanted to hear some random shit, like always, this is the channel for that. And Freddy apparently can kill you when you're high now too. Like, because this guy, I don't know how he fell asleep, the stoner guy. Like, he just was there. Linderman left him, and he said, like, let's smoke a joint. And Linderman's, no, not the time right now, or whatever, which he's right. And the stoner guy just lights up a joint. There was no point that he was laying down, sitting down, anything like that. So Freddy can fucking kill you when you're high now. Like, apparently. So that's a whole thing that I don't have time to get into. But the whole Freddy worm thing is cool. Really cool. I really like the whole little Freddy worm. And him smoking too, and blowing the smoke in the stoner's face. And he's like, oh, come back here, little dude. And he's like crawling after him. That's so funny. And then with the coma patients that they have in there that were given too much Hypnosil. And fucked up, man. And then you even see that Will points out that Laurie's father's name is on the bottom of both the forms and everything, the medical forms. Fucking fucked up what the father is doing, man, with this hospital. But like having all the coma patients sitting up and saying Hypnosil and stuff, and then making him, like Freddy possesses him and makes him like destroy all the Hypnosil and not flush it, but like pour it down the sink and everything. Really, really cool. His whole dream sequence, the stoners, is very, very good. Like, I really enjoy that whole scene. Then how does Jason even know his way around Springwood? Like, he shows up right at the hospital there, like, to kill whoever they can, and ends up killing the stoner guy. But how does he even know his way around Springwood? Like, in all the other movies, yeah, it makes sense. Fucking, it's Camp Crystal Lake. It's where he drowned. Like, that's his fucking grounds. That's his hunting grounds. He knows his home in and out. But, like, this is just some random town to him. And he just knows where the hospital is. He knows they're heading there. I mean, you can argue and say Freddy is guiding him and stuff, which I guess that makes sense. So that answers the question. But, I mean, he can find his way around in fucking space on a spaceship and everything, so he can find himself wherever he is. And then we get Stoner Freddy tranquilizing Jason and then chopping the Stoner in half with the machete. That's awesome. Like, that's the kill we should have got in part 3 when, what is it, Andy, I want to say? When Andy's doing the handstand, and that's my favorite kill in that movie, and I said in the video, I wish it was just longer. And that's the kill. We should have seen that. Like 100%. I just seen him cut straight in half and just body parts, both sides, fall down. Like, would have looked so much better. But we're talking 1982, 83 to 2003. So it is what it is. But that is an awesome kill. Like, besides the bed one, that's my second favorite in the movie. Like, really, really cool. And then we have Freddy vs. Jason, round 1, when he ends up cutting, like, Freddy's arm off, and then his other arm, and then he grows him back and stuff. Like, that's what I mean. They could have done so much with this. Like, just with the fact of Freddy being able to do anything when he has somebody in his nightmare. But, like, I don't know. I feel like the main goal for this movie was just focusing on the whole Freddy and Jason fights. And then everything else was just written around it. And that's why it feels just not that organic to me and just not that great. Like, and just a lot of things that I don't care for in this. Like, I feel like the plot wasn't the main focus here. The main focus was just having Jason and Freddy on screen and having an epic battle between them. And then everything else was fill in the blanks around that to get them there. I don't know. Let me know if anybody else feels that same way about this movie. That if it was just, like I said, like if it was just focused on the big battle against Freddy and Jason and the rest of the plot was just kind of filled in as they went along. Not like as they went along, but you know what I mean. Like, it just didn't, it doesn't feel like the plot was fleshed out well enough for this movie. Like, it seems like they were just paying attention to the fight at the end, the epic battle between two horror icons, and then they wrote the script around that. And how do we get there? Like, how do we get both of them to Camp Crystal Lake at the end? I don't know. That's just how it feels for me. And then when he's dream flinging Jason all around, like when he's using his little glove nail and stuff like that, and he's like an orchestra leader, like a conductor. He's just going like this with his finger, and Jason's like going flying, flinging here, hitting into stuff, and then he just starts flying. Well, that looks so fucking stupid. Like, come on, man, that doesn't look good at all. Like, I do not like that. Like, but the rest of that scene is cool. But then there's more stupidity. Like, that's what I mean. This movie is just back and forth. But since when is Jason afraid of water? Like, yeah, as a kid, he drowned. But we see this guy, and I've said this in numerous videos on the Friday series in the last week. We see this motherfucker swim everywhere in the earlier entries in this series. Like, we see him in part 7. We see him in part 4, under the water before he kills Sam in the raft. We see him underwater when he drowns the chick in part 7. We see him swim most of the way to Manhattan in part 8. Like, so this guy is not afraid of water. Like, if anything, like I said in those videos, like, he became a fucking amazing swimmer. Like, he can rival Michael Phelps. Like, this guy is unreal. And then now all of a sudden he's afraid of water. Like, he can't even walk into a stream of water that's coming down. What about the fact that, like, every movie in this franchise, in the Friday franchise, ends in a fucking thunderstorm? Like, water coming down all over the place. Torrential downpour, and he's running around and walking through there like it's nothing. So, like, the whole him being afraid of water thing is, I don't know. That's fucking weird, man. And then Freddy putting his knife glove into child Jason's head and like probing into his brain. That's cool. Like, I really enjoy that. And then Laurie, like when they're driving to the camp, like Laurie really had to lay next to Jason when they put her out too. Like, why? Like, they couldn't just put her out in the front seat? Like, just tranquilize her and just have her lay back and fall asleep? Like, they had to put her next to Jason, who they know is a fucking unstoppable killer at this point and could wake up at any moment. And they decide, let's put her laying right next to him. Like, there's no reason for them to be together, is the point I'm trying to make. She could have just been tranquilized and been sleeping in the front seat. No reason to put her in more danger when she's already going against Freddy to bring him out. Put him next to fucking Jason. Like, I don't know. He could have just woken up, turned around, she's still asleep, and squished her fucking head in like a pancake, like we've seen him do in many movies. And then we have Freddy and Jason round 2, which I'm not even going to get to. It's awesome. The whole ending and stuff, it's a little over the top at times, but the whole fight between them at the end is really, really awesome stuff. Like, right before that, when Jason drags Freddy through all the windows, he puts him through the one window and then runs and drags him through, like, the length of the cabin. Like, that's really cool. Like, real awesome stuff. And then Kim gets stabbed, and then she gets fucking flung, man. And Jason flings her right into the fucking tree. That looks brutal. The way she just hits the tree like that, really cool stuff. And then just the rest of it, fucking, I'd sound like a WWE fucking announcer. Like, and Jason with the left hook, and he doesn't make it, but Krueger's up on the fucking turnbuckle, and he's gonna. So there's no reason to jump into all that. And this is getting much longer than I thought it would be for Freddy vs. Jason. But awesome, awesome sequence for the whole ending battle against them. Like, really cool. And again, so much better if Hodder was playing Jason. Like, what a fuck you to all the fans of Hodder and all the fans of the Friday series, in my opinion. Like, that is so messed up to not bring Hodder back. And then we get explosions and fire, and I even think I saw a parade in there running at like 60 miles per hour. Like, we get everything. And then, who's the winner? Jason or Freddy? What do you guys think? Who do you think won there? Because this is my take real quick. He's carrying Freddy's head. Then he winks Freddy's head. So we know Freddy's still alive. But in my opinion, if you're in a big epic battle, whoever's carrying the other's head at the end, their severed head, they're the winner. Like, it doesn't matter what face is on that severed head. Like, if they died like this, or they died like her. It don't fucking matter. Like, or they somehow supernaturally wink or smile. You're still carrying the head. You win. So Jason's the winner of Freddy versus Jason for me. Jason all day long. Freddy can wink all he wants. He's still the one being carried by the other with no body. So Jason is the winner of Freddy versus Jason, and that's the movie. Like I said, sorry guys if this video was a little all over the place and shit, but like I said, I woke up early to watch this, and my daughter woke up, and like I said, love you guys, but fuck you. More important, being here with my little girl. And, hold on. Again, thank you, Joe. See, we treat him very well. He's part of the family. But, alright, Freddy vs. Jason out of the way, so we have just Jason X and the remake left, so I'll try to get both of those done tonight. And from now on, when I make plans, I'm just not even going to I'm not going to announce it. I'm just going to keep it to myself, and then that way maybe the plans will actually come to fruition the way they're supposed to. Because there's a whole week of plans and everything that I had for which movies I was doing when and all that, completely thrown out the window. So, actually I rented, from Redbox, I rented The Black Phone and Scream 5, which I don't know why Scream, because like you guys who watch know, I'm not a Scream fan. But I haven't seen the new one from this year, Scream 5. So I rented that and I rented The Black Phone. So those are what I'm going to do tonight. So the last 2 Friday films will probably be the day after that. And then, like I said, I'm not even fucking announcing the plan because then it's not going to happen. So, more videos coming soon. Wherever you're from, hope you're having a good morning, good night, and I will speak to you guys soon. Take care.